Hello everybody, welcome back. I have got yet another Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions character breakdown for you. So we're talking BEOWULF this time. I really like BEOWULF. He's kind of like the fifth member that I usually take. Reason being, his Templar job is pretty great. He's got, I think his equipment options are closer to Agrius, if not. Well, I suppose, Agrius is a female unit, right? So she can use the hairpins, but pretty close, I think, there. We'll talk about his gear afterwards. I like his skill set is great. He's more of, I would say, a utility character, right? Because he's got, he's basically just a beefy mystic. Now, so he's got, blind here. Let's go over these. Blind, I'll be honest, I'm not that big on blind anymore. I think probably towards the beginning of the game it's okay, but BEOWULF isn't available until I think it's chapter 4. So by then I think that skill is not so great. This one is a MP absorb. So the thing with BEOWULF and Templar is that he does use a bit of MP. Now, I mean, even, what is this? His most expensive skill here is Break at 24. He's got 212 MP right now, and he doesn't even have a robe equipped, so this is actually really good. So you're probably not usually going to run out of MP, but, just know that Siphon is an option if you do. Now, Drain is pretty great. Drain, I believe, is 25%. Let me just check here. It should be 25%, if I'm remembering correctly here, of the maximum HP. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, what am I... What's going on here? Drain. Huh. Yeah, this must be... yeah, that's right. Just keep in mind that you don't want to be using this on undead units, right? Because it'll restore their health instead and take it away from BEOWULF. That's usually the case, though, with a... Let me just see... Sorry, in the wrong... Jeez, here we go. Yeah, that's why. Chicken. Weird. Just looking at the skill names, and they're different on the spot that I'm looking. Templar. Yeah, chicken. That is so weird. Was this called something different in the PlayStation version of the game? Now I'm questioning if this is. Boy, that's really weird. Bum 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 bum. Yeah. Weird. Huh. Okay. Anyways, I suppose not that important. Let's keep knocking down the different skills here. Again, Drain is amazing. I mean, not as good as like the Jesus. Dark Knight. Man, wow, brain fart there. As the Sanguine, is it Sanguine Blade or Sanguine Sword? I can never keep it set right. Anyways, yeah. I don't know. This is a good skill. The 25% though, I guess this is really good for bosses, right? It's things that have a lot of health, and to be able to just chop off a quarter of their health in one skill is pretty great. Jesus. All right, let's see here. Faith, a spellblade technique that fills the soul with a zealous fervor. This adds faith. I think this is. Let me just see here. I want to see if I can cast this on myself here. Nope, I can't. Okay, well, so much for that. Apparently, faith is kind of flagged as a detrimental skill, which seems a little weird, but anyways, you can increase your land rates of these different skills on targets that have high faith, which, by the way, that's usually the case with all of these, right? It's caster faith times target faith. So not only is your faith important, but your target's faith is important as well. And then obviously you've got the Zodiac compatibility, which you can't do anything about. And then also M attack. So adding M attack is going to increase your land rates of all of these abilities as well. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, faith. Doubt here. Spellblade technique that fills the soul with a heathen impiety. So this adds atheist, which means, you know, basically your skills are ineffective, or magic spells are ineffective on them. And also, I think they can't cast, right? Like if you cast that on a, if you cast that like on an enemy caster. All right, so Undead. Spellblade technique that transforms the target into a walking dead and prevents HP restoration. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know that I mean, I just don't use this. I mean, that you could maybe say that this would be good if you're worried about somebody healing. Like, I suppose like a chocobo, actually, this is probably good on, right? Because there's nothing that they can do to remove this. And then if they try to use chocobo cure on themselves, you know, they'll just basically nuke themselves. Alright, so anyways, what's the next one here? Silence, which is probably obvious. Spellblade technique that robs the target of speech. So that's, again, that's great against casters. Berserk, actually sort of good against casters as well. They'll just run around, you know, meleeing. Chicken here. This is one of Beowulf's best abilities. Basically, this reduces your bravery by 50. This is also kind of usable on your own characters if you're trying to treasure hunt. I cast Chicken a bit when I'm going through Midlight Steep, right? Because I'm trying to run around, look for the rare treasures down there. Again, and mostly because, you know, the more rare of the two, basically, you know, every time there's a treasure that can be found using the treasure hunt ability, there's a common item and a rare item. And the lower your bravery, the higher the likelihood that you're going to get that rare item. So very strange that most it's usually good for you to have really high bravery in this game, but in that narrow aspect, it is not. So it is really good to reduce bravery, and 50 is, you know, gigantic. Now, that is also amazing because below 10 bravery, an enemy will turn into a chicken and then just run around. They'll recover 1 bravery for every turn until they hit 10, and then they'll stick to 10. But basically, you can turn anything into a chicken that'll just run around in 2 turns using this ability. That usually doesn't work though on the bosses, so keep that in mind. There's just certain, you know, units that are flagged as kind of unable to be turned into chickens. Though it will still reduce their bravery down. Confuse here, again, I've talked about Confuse quite a few times, but Confuse isn't one of my favorite stat effects, but it is good. I prefer Charm to this, because Charm is just a little bit better. Or like Stop, but, you know, I suppose I think Confuse is the closest to Charm, and unfortunately Charm is still just a little bit better. Dispel. So removes float, re-raise, invisible, regen, protect, shell, haste, faith, reflect. So anything that's trying to buff you know, itself or others, you can strip those buffs with Dispel. So good spell. Disable. Here is another one of the probably top, whatever, it's either 3 or 4 abilities here. Disable is amazing. Sure, the enemy can still run around, but they can't take actions. So a great ability. Sleep. Again, I prefer Stop to Sleep, but Sleep is still good, right? It basically just makes it so that they can't do anything. Sleep is great for, I mean, not only is it basically like Disable, but it's also like Immobilize at the same time. The only difference here is that if you attack them, you know, they will wake up. So, Break. Stone effect. Amazing, honestly. You know, yeah, sometimes enemies can cure the stone effect, but that's pretty uncommon. And when you're running across monsters, you know, they can't. And also, it basically considers the target dead. So if you turn everything to stone, you win. You don't have to wait for the 3, or, you know, the timers don't have to wear off or anything like that. It's just boom, that it's considered dead. So. Stone is great. This is, again, one of the top, like, probably 3 or 4 skills. Vengeance is interesting as well. Inflict damage commensurate with the damage received. So, if you've got a really high maximum health and you take a bunch of damage, let's just say, you know, you've got 900 health, you take 100 damage, or sorry, you lose 800 of your, you know, HP. Well, you will do 800 HP worth of damage when you use the Vengeance ability. So, really cool way to kind of get around, and I think this doesn't miss either, if I'm remembering correctly, which is kind of an interesting way to get around, like, you know, defense and all that. So, great ability. You know, again, that's probably top 3. So it's like Vengeance, Disable, and Chicken, I think, are the best for here. So let's take a look at land rates here and compare them to Mystic. I believe they're all better than the basic Mystics here. So let's do let's check Blind here. So Blind on this target is a 78% chance. Now again, also keep in mind my Faith is only 65, so I would probably be able to bump these up a bit. Yeah, 71 for Blind out of the Mystic, or like the Mystic and equivalent. Oh, I see what happened here. This this guide that I'm looking at has the Mystic abilities listed and not the actual Spellblade abilities listed. That's so funny. Yeah, that's so funny. Okay, so this is like Chicken, right? Except this only removes 30 bravery. Oh yeah, that's funny. This guide is completely wrong. It has Trepidation saying that it reduces bravery by 50. That, like, they're describing the Chicken skill and not Trepidation. That is funny. But yeah, I mean, Chicken is just an even better version of this. You know, a lot of these are just, you know what, though, I will say, let's see here. Is Trepidation multi-target? No, it's not. This is single. Some of these, okay, so some of this, I should say, all of the Spellblade spells are single target, right? But some of the Mystic are multi-target. I don't know which ones here. Range 4, radius 1, radius 1, radius 2. Yeah, so like Blind, you know, look at there. So that's another difference between Mystic Arts and Spellblade. The advantage here, obviously, is the Mystic Arts, though, and not Beowulf's Spellblade. Again, because this is only a single target. But you can just see that. Let's just see here. Okay, so Chicken. My land rate here is 70%. Let's check Trepidation, which again is like the almost equal. Yeah, way less. So there you have it. I mean, okay, yeah, you can't always target, like, you know, in some cases multi-target turns into single target, but you've always got better land rates, and I think that's actually a lot more important. Yeah, 65% chance to turn this guy to stone. That's really good. Now, as far as his backup skills, probably, honestly, it's probably like most of these kind of like knights that can use the Night Blades as their base class. You know, so Ramza Chapter 4, Agrius, Meliadol, Orlandu, all of those knights that can use, or you know, all of those classes that can basically use knight swords as their base class. They're better as either that class or as a Dark Knight. My guess here with Beowulf is probably Templar is better, but we'll just check that. It also depends on what you want to do. So let's actually talk. Let's talk here. Let's see if we can break this guy. Miss. All right. Big miss on a 65%. That's all right. Again, you know, if I brought my bravery up or my faith up, those would land better. But let's talk equipment and these classes. Again, the question here is Beowulf better as a Templar or a Dark Knight? I guess you could maybe make a case for Knight as well, because Beowulf is really more of a utility character, and so you know, you could say that, okay, you know, by having, or by being just, you know, Templar, the skill set is much more like, okay, sleeping or you know, drain, I guess, you know, or disable, that sort of thing. You can either go that route, or, you know, maybe you're done with all that and you just want to like reduce speed or something like that. Well, then you need, like, you know, Arts of War to you know, do some break type abilities, right? Like break speed or whatever. I would say, all right, so also I've got him equipped. He's dual wielding right now, right? because I want to go the Chaos Blade Excalibur. I'll be honest, and this is the best. Dual wielding these guys is the best when you're playing the original PlayStation version, and for reasons that I've stated before, if you've watched some of my other character breakdowns, is that in the original PlayStation version, the only way to get haste on your male units was via the Excalibur in the offhand, or the main hand, right? Now, I suppose, right, you could still go like Excalibur if you wanted to do a shield, but then, you're just not going to hit as hard, right? Because the Chaos Blade just doesn't have the Excalibur doesn't have the stats that the Excalibur does for the attack. Also, Chaos Blade gives you regen, and I actually really, really like regen, so I think this is a really important setup, especially for the PlayStation version of the game. Now, that could change a little bit here because we're on the War of the Lions. Instead of going haste here with the Excalibur, you could do Brigand's Gloves, right? So we could get the haste there. I like the movement and the extra jump for their Germinus boots, but probably it's better to go this route if you can, and then do like we could do like a Vehemence instead. Oops, that's the wrong setup. So you could do Vehemence here, right? And that's gonna make you do, but that's just gonna do you're gonna do more damage at the expense of your defense. And I'll be honest, Beowulf isn't really meant, right? Like his skill set isn't really designed to be doing a ton of like physical damage. With break, I suppose with break you're just you're literally just killing the enemy. But vengeance, it's more based on just how much damage he's taken. So, having a very, very powerful, weapon in your main hand isn't that important. So, again, your options go up, I believe, with Beowulf. Again, unless you want to do Darkness, right? Which I actually do think is a really, really good backup type skill. I mean, honestly, though, if you've put the time into Beowulf and got his Dark Knight unlocked, you probably should just go, Darkness, Vehemence, and annihilate stuff with the Darkness command, right? But again, he's got at least some backup utility with that Spellblade. So there's that aspect to it. So let's take a look more at his equipment as well. So he can't equip hats. So yeah, he is a lot more like with Agrius that way, I believe. And he also can't equip the lighter armor. So yeah, he's much more in line with Agrius here, who again can really only equip the heavy helmets, and then obviously, because she's a female, she can use the hairpins, and then she can't actually equip these light armors. So she's got robe and heavy. So again, Beowulf's equipments are much more in line with her. Because you probably are going to be casting so many spells, he's another really good option to actually go with a robe instead of these heavier armors. Again, that's going to be personal preference. Just remember that by only wearing a robe instead of a heavier armor, you're not going to have as good of max HP, and thus, you're probably not going to be able to do as much with like Vengeance. But if Vengeance isn't, I mean, honestly, that skill probably isn't that important to focus too much on. But again, if you find yourself running out of MP a lot, think about going robe. I would still say probably like a Grand Armor is better for him if you're going to stick with his Templar route. And then do like Brigand Gloves and set up this way. This way he's going to be a lot more defensive because of the shield. You probably won't necessarily have the escutcheon on him, but this is probably his best setup. The only other thing that I would say here, again, is maybe we could do Dark Knight instead. That's not going to change that much, though, to be completely honest, that way we can equip the light armor, right? So we could go Ninja Gear if you wanted to. Yeah, I mean, I would prefer to do something like this because I like the lighter armor for the speed. But also, same reason, though, as I mentioned before, that's going to reduce your utility of Vengeance, right? But if you're running around as Dark Knight, you might as well be using whatchamacallit anyway. You might as well be using Sanguine Sword. So in that case, I would do, you know, Darkness Spellblade. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is probably it. This is probably the best route to go. You know, Vehemence then, as well as you know, your passive ability, and you're just gonna rock stuff, right? As usual, I go with the Vanish. I should have bumped up his Bravery. If you notice here, it's only 79, so that's lower than what I typically did. Normally, I worked on my Bravery stats to get him up to 97. That's really important to make sure that Vanish is always triggering. And again, this setup here is a lot more Glass Cannon. It's not total Glass Cannon, but Vehemence really makes it a little bit more dangerous to be running around like this. But and yeah, I mean, honestly, you know, it's probably a bad idea to go Ninja Gear with this setup. You're probably better off going Grand Armor for that re-raise regen, or I think is it Brave Suit? Yeah, Brave Suit. Brave Suit would work too. Brave Suit actually is a really good option for him because it gives you the extra 40 mana. So again, this is a great setup too. It's just really a lot of this depends on, you know, do you want to go Glass Cannon? Do you want to, you know, what do you want to have as far as, you know, stats effects, right? Do you want the re-raise regen? Do you need, or do you want to get, you know, haste in like your offhand instead of your accessory? Again, it's really just a lot of this stuff becomes personal preference, but I like to go Germinus Boots, which means also that I need a dual wield, right? So let's put that back on. So here would be probably my best, or what I would do, what I would likely do, because I generally don't care that much about defense. And again, you know, with Dark Knight here, we can just do Sanguine Sword anytime we take a hit to restore our health. And then I probably would go Ninja Gear, honestly, because, you know, I just don't, I'm not that worried about it, and I like the extra speed. So again, you know, this setup, we're going to be still pretty Glass Cannon, but we'll have the Vanish, and I rely a lot on Vanish to kind of cover my butt, right? We'll run up into the thick of things, probably use a Darkness ability. And then take a hit, and then boom, you're vanished, right? And then go right into Darkness again and use another Sanguine Sword to steal that HP back. So again, that's my take on Beowulf. Again, although, you know what, I'll say the last thing that you could do here would be, you know, another pretty decent option though would be going Templar with the Arts of War. Definitely, if you're going to go Arts of War, though, absolutely dual wield, right? Because you want to, whenever you're trying to speed break, you want to, or power break, or magic, whatever you want to do, right? You want to attempts at it, and that's what dual wield is going to go for you. Or do for you. It's going to make sure that you attempt, you know, to do those things twice. So, again, this setup would be more, you know, Templar with the dual wield. The other thing I suppose maybe you could do is just a straight up Knight, but I don't know about if Knight is a better option. It probably isn't than this. The gear is going to be the exact same, but I just don't know about the oops, probably do Grand Armor here. I just don't know about the the modifiers. It might actually be better if you want to go this route. Let's take a look here. So our attack is 18 with this setup. So let's change him into Knight. And then again, we'll do abilities. We would do Spellblade, Vanish, Dual Wield still. Let's check our equipment here. We'd have to do Excalibur, right? Again, we'll do Grand Armor again, and then usually I do the Germinus. So only 17. Yeah, so his Templar actually is better. If you want to do the paired up, right, because the gear is the exact same here. But if you want to do a, God, is his movement even worse? Let me see here. Move 7, jump 4. Sorry, I'm just gonna work this out, right? Equip. Yeah, his movement is better as a Templar as well, and slightly more attack. So, yes, absolutely, stay away from Knight. If you want to do the Arts of War skill set, just go Templar and keep your equipment more like this. So, that is my take on Beowulf. Again, a very good character. You know, for War of the Lions, I would say you probably want to go with the Darkness, I guess, skill set as well, just because, again, it makes you so survivable. Again, that Sanguine Sword is amazing. So that's my take on Beowulf. As always, I hope the guide was helpful, and hope you join me for more videos. Thanks for watching.